We have an update on Steph Diggs, which we'll get to.
Do we really?
Well, it's really more of a Cardi B update.
All right.
Which we'll get to 1 o'clock.
Okay.
We'll get back to all the latest on Steph Diggs. And it turns out his girlfriend, we assume.
Yes.
I don't know all the complexities of their relationship.
Seems like they are an official item.
The story I'm looking at refers to him as her beau.
Okay.
B-E-A-U.
Was it a French story?
I don't. It is from the Daily Mail.
Okay.
Don't shoot the messenger on this one, Keith.
Well, I think we could.
We have an update. We have an update coming your way.
All right, good.
At 1 o'clock. In the meantime, that was Phil Perry describing the day at OTAs yesterday. It was a quote-unquote uneven performance for the offense. That is progress. I mean, that's way better than 4 picks. Even I'll acknowledge that. Yeah. I still don't love what I'm reading about the offense. Now, it's early. It's a brand-new offense. Drake May hasn't played for Josh McDaniels. They don't have a party boy there. Steph Diggs out on the field yet. He wasn't even present for OTAs. So I understand it could look a lot better, but let's evaluate what we've seen. Media's been there for 2 of these passing camps, OTAs, the last couple of weeks. He threw 4 picks last week. Yesterday he was 9 for 17. Offense was, again, quote-unquote uneven. He had a fumbled snap. I think it's way too early to panic, but I think it's fair to say the offense doesn't sound like it's doing great so far.
No, it doesn't. And, like Mike Vrabel even himself said, all this stuff matters. He takes into account performance. You wouldn't be out there if it didn't matter. If it was like, oh, just when the game starts, that's what it is. I think especially when you have a group that is so new and you have a new offense and a new offensive coordinator for all these guys, every little bit counts. And, yeah, it's May. These no pads, it's way different than what it's going to be come August, and then once you get into the regular season for sure. But every little bit, you're like, all right, you got to start somewhere, and so as long as you're showing a little bit of improvement, I guess you could take that as as a positive sign. But yeah, no, there's a lot of unknown when it comes to this offense and what it's going to look like. You can assume that Drake May is going to take a big step forward because you're like, oh, it looks like a more competent offense. There's no guarantee of it, though.
You think Vrabel wants to put a lot on May? I know we're kind of reading between the lines with things that he said. I'm with you, though. That's not how they ran their offense in Tennessee. At his introductory press conference, he talked about, teams that are efficient running the football and stuff like this, and we really gotta disrupt opposing QBs, rather, and you got to be efficient in the passing game. You got to supplement that with the run. I don't get the sense he wants to put a lot on Drake May.
I really don't think so either. I think in a perfect world, they're running the ball really well, and they are a good defense. And they don't have Derrick Henry, but I think they still have backs. He was talking up Ramondre Stevenson the other day. Vrabel was a little bit.
Stevenson, by the way, was there yesterday.
Yeah, so he's back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think he wants to, because he even said early on. Now, it wasn't some of the cliche stuff where you roll your eyes, where we're gonna play smash mouth football and punch in the snout. It wasn't that, but it was
trending towards that.
It was more that than not. It was if you can have 20, 25 good passes in a game as opposed to 30. I don't think they're gonna let him rip. Now it's still modern NFL. You can't win throwing for under 200 yards a game. And Vrabel knows that. Vrabel's best seasons, they had A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown had a great year, or a great couple of years with those guys. But yeah, overall, I think now he also had a bunch of different offensive coordinators in Tennessee.
Oh, it was
he had 3 or 4 different guys.
I think he had 4 in 6 years. So basically, it changed every year, or at the most every other year. Yeah.
So now you have McDaniels, and you look back at his track record, and a lot of it's with Brady, but then there's plenty of years with other quarterbacks too. And so what he likes to do as well. But I would say overall, Vrabel's going to be more conservative than maybe we would want him to be, or maybe even more than Drake May would want to be.
And the first month of the year, not to jump the gun on the Diggs conversation, which we'll circle back to, but the first month of the year, I'm not anticipating Diggs being out there much. I mean, Kendrick Bourne had a similar injury at a similar time. Bourne's younger, by the way. Not as good of a receiver as Diggs in his prime, obviously. But Bourne didn't come back until I think it was October 6th. So I bet Diggs will be back for the Buffalo game week 5. Maybe he's even back week 4. But I think, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I've thought this from even before they signed him, I don't think he's going to be ready week 1. And so that might be the kind of thing that grows and evolves over the course of the year, Keith. What we see week 1 against the Raiders might be very different than what we see in December. But they may not have the opportunity to really put a lot on Drake May if it's really, for all intents and purposes, basically the same wide receiver room as a year ago. I mean, before Diggs gets out there, we're still looking at Pop Douglas and Kendrick Bourne and maybe Kayshon Boutte Who knows how much we're going to see out of Kyle Williams early in the year? Matt Collins, I imagine, has a role, but what is that, a 3 or 4 receiver? I mean, you might be relying largely on the same guys in the passing game to start the year if Diggs isn't ready to go.
So last year, only 6 guys threw for 4,000 or more yards. So, like, I don't think Drake May is going to be 4,000 yards passing.
Who were they, just out of curiosity?
Joe Burrow threw for almost 5. Then Goff, my guy Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, and Lamar Jackson.
Okay, so there is more of an avenue into that club than I would assume. But I would guess he's out of that group, yeah.
The next group down is Mahomes, Rodgers, Herbert. So it was like, all right, because the Chargers might actually be a good comparison. Where, like, they have the guy who can do it.
I think they're a great comparison.
And, like, Herbert didn't throw any picks last year.
Individually, it's a great comp, I think, for May. Probably he's closer to Herbert than Josh Allen. Herbert's way more athletic, sneaky athletic than I think a lot of people realize.
He's like a truck.
Right. Josh Allen hits you over the head with it, with his athleticism. But Herbert's very athletic, and the coaches, to me, are very similar. First year, a year ago, with Harbaugh and Herbert. This year, first year with Vrabel and May, and Harbaugh wants to run the ball. But they evolved over the course of the year and threw it way more in the second half of the year, so that is a really good analogy.
It is amazing. I mean, the two high-end comps for Drake May coming out were Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert averaged 227.6 yards a game passing. 227?
Doesn't seem like
Josh
much.
Allen, in an MVP season, averaged 219.5. So, like, 220, when you think about modern-day NFL, you're like, 220 passing yards is, like, not a crazy number. Now, those guys can also run, and in the case of Herbert, he only threw 3 picks. Josh Allen, I think, only threw 6. So you got to keep that. If you're not going to throw it a lot, you can't throw any picks. But maybe that would be more. I think you'd be more inclined to see that, where if Drake May throws for 220, 225 in a game, 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns, no picks, and then they run the ball well, I think Vrabel will sign up for that 100 times.
1,000%.
Rather than, we got to get into a shootout, and we're like, shootout with what? Kyle Williams and, like, Kendrick Bourne? Like, I don't know if you're equipped to do that.
I don't think it's Javon Baker.
Yeah.
And Jalen Polk.
Because I think that was one of the issues with Allen last year, honestly, was, like, he didn't have Steph Diggs.
Yep.
Nobody else really stepped up, so he had to run. He had to put a lot of the offense on himself. They had a good running game overall. But, like, how was he going to get to 300 yards every week with the guys that he has? So as great as he is, MVP season, you don't need to throw it like that.
No, and he didn't have the personnel to do it, which is similar here.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned Baker, just to bring this up again. Mike Vrabel walked off the field yesterday with Javon Baker after practice and continued to coach him based on one play, which is a novel concept to me. I'm reading from Mike Reese. Like, the coach is actually coaching these guys.
Sweet.
I don't feel like, not to pile on Mayo, but I don't feel like there was a lot of that going on last year. What happened is Baker caught a deep pass and appeared, in Reese's words, to push off on the defender.
Got it. So offensive pass interference.
But he did actually catch one, which we should give him credit for.
I like that.
Because I saw the video from Freeze Pops yesterday. We ran it earlier on Twitch.
Yeah, you didn't catch it.
Where him and Polk were the first 2 through the line, drop.
Tough start.
Not with defenders on them.
No.
Just
even equipment on.
Blocking,
they're just wearing helmets.
Blocking. What were those things? Blocking, not sled.
Like dummies?
Yeah, exactly. Blocking dummies. So he caught a pass. He did appear to push off, and then he celebrated afterwards.
I wonder what he did.
Probably because he was shocked he caught one.
Gritty?
Yeah, probably hit him with the gritty. An homage to Mac.
Or he did, like, a big fake, like, snort. Like a big, like, snort
one of those.
Line, like the soccer players do sometimes.
Yeah.
They're like, not now.
Too
soon.
They're outlawing
the Dig stuff.
Thanks, John Morant. They're outlawing all the cool celebrations.
Yeah, so maybe not a gun stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Vrabel wanted him back in the huddle quickly, and he let him know that in decisive terms. So he yelled at him in real time. He's like, get back over here.
Yeah.
And then he still was coaching him coming off the field. I don't see how Baker, even if Diggs isn't ready, we went through this earlier, I don't see how Baker or Polk are on the team.
Baker does not really have much of an avenue, I don't think, to make the team outside of Diggs starts the year on PUP and maybe somebody else gets hurt. Like, not to go down that road.
Fine.
But that's
another injury beyond Diggs, maybe. But
so
if Diggs is out, then Booty's probably on the team.
Just to paint the picture again, Javon Baker, in all likelihood, committed offensive pass interference, taunting, and delay a game. all in one play. All in one rip.
Yeah, but they can only get you for one.
No,
they can throw a bunch of flags, but they can only get you for one.
They're all offsetting.
Yeah.
15 yards from the previous spot. That's still first down. Yeah, that's a tough go. But yeah, it is a numbers game, and it's funny because the last 2 weeks in a row, we've played the Mike Vrabel quick Q&A that he's done at practice, and 2 different reporters asked him about, like, the crowded receiver room Which I get Vrabel's response. He's like, every team in the league has 90 guys.
Yeah,
everything's crowded.
Everybody's got 10, 12 guys in the room.
Yeah.
But that was his way of being like, the room kind of sucks.
The room does kind of stink. But, yeah, it is a numbers game. Polk got opportunities last year and could not capitalize. And then Baker just didn't. And Wolf drafted both those guys. Vrabel has no commitment to either one. So he could say, all right, let's get rid of both these guys. Or maybe he likes one more than the other. We'll see. Because I think this, in a weird way, could be good for Baker. So he got one-on-one attention from the coach.
Yep.
How does he respond? If he comes out and has like a bunch of good practices, maybe Vrabel's like, this guy actually
got
listened to me.
something out of him, right?
If he doesn't, then see you later.
He's celebrating and then dropping passes.
I specifically told you not to do that.
I'm with you. You said this earlier. I think Baker's got a better chance of making the team than Polk. I know Polk has the higher draft capital.
More of an unknown.
But Polk was so bad last year.
Oh, he stunk.
Baker at least has the upside of we really don't know. Bad sign he couldn't get on the field.
Yeah.
But we really don't know. All right, we got an update on the Steph Diggs situation.
What's going on there?
Doesn't sound like Cardi B is thrilled with her man.
Well, but she was there.
I don't want to start any rumors, but maybe former.
You're rumor mongering.
I don't want to rumor monger, but just maybe former man.